Hello, everybody. This is the first to last, the Nerdom, and we're opening up that great big grab bag and looking to see what's inside. I'm Thomas, and I'm here with Mike. How's it going?
Hello, I'm Mike. Good. How about you?
I'm good. I shook up the grab bag really good this time, so hopefully we could pull out some good stuff
I did.
this week.
Yeah, I did too. I actually found some independents and some indies, whatever the hell they're called, and they're very interesting. I'll give it that. But well, that's to be seen, I guess. So this week, jumping in. Would you want to jump in first with my friend for this week's grab bag?
You want to hit the news, maybe?
Oh yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Which one here? The DC. We got DC, Marvel, and Bruce. That's the start of the articles there.
let's go with Marvel.
All right.
Yeah, Conan's gone on his way. He's leaving Marvel.
Really?
Marvel's lost the rights to him again, and they've only had him for a few years. I think they got him in 2016, 17,
Okay.
like that. I think the article says, but yeah, the company that owns Conan's properties is going to see about maybe actually making their own Conan comic books, which could be interesting. And Conan is actually in public domain right now, so that actually you and I could come out with a Conan the Barbarian. Well, we couldn't call it Conan the Barbarian. That's kind of tied up with
Great.
Marvel, but because
Yeah,
that's
trademark.
trademarks. But yeah, we could come up with our own Conan comic book if we wanted to. And in fact, there's a European publisher that published some Conan stories, and that they're publishing them here now. They had a little bit of a legal battle to kind of settle things with Marvel, but there's the Sumerian comic book where they're adapting some of Robert E. Howard's stories. And actually, I could probably a new issue actually comes out today of that, which I could have recommended, but I didn't. But yeah, so the wrapping Marvel is wrapping up their content with Conan, and they're finishing up the there's a King Conan that's currently coming out. It's going to end with issue number 6 that ends in July. Now they just started Savage, a new run of Savage Avengers, which is basically Conan with a bunch of Marvel characters. It it was Conan was in present day running around with the Punisher and Wolverine and Elektra and various people, Doctor Strange. And that first run was really good. I really enjoyed it. They just started a new one, and it's in issue 1. They get knocked back into the Hyborian age, the time of Conan's from. So they've got a bunch of people with Conan back in time. There's I think Elektra and a few different other characters that's there. And they haven't uh really ironed out what they're going to do with that. The from what that article says is that the company that owns Conan, that Conan Properties International, they're
Hmm.
going to probably just have like a little bit of an agreement with Marvel that they can use Conan for that particular title for however long it runs. And then there's going to be a few more omnibuses of the original Conan the Barbarian comic book that they're reprinting as omnibuses that are still going to come out through the end of the year. So there still be a few more titles, but a regular Conan title is probably not going to happen with Marvel after the end of King Conan.
Interesting. That's very good. Very cool. Very cool.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that overall, the one you say you would recommend and is good. The Marvel one, the Marvel version that they're currently iterating through.
Like I said, they're wrapping up everything except for Savage Avengers, which is This new run of it isn't quite as good as the one
Mhm.
that they previously wrapped up, but it's still pretty interesting, and it's just started out, so they haven't really ramped up yet. So that
Gotcha,
one
gotcha.
may get a little bit better. It's about 2 issues in. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, how ongoing it's going to be, since they're going to have to kind of work out a deal with the other company.
For sure.
But yeah, and then
Hmm.
it also obviously depends on sales. If it's not a high selling title, they may wrap it up sooner than later. But yeah,
Awesome.
yep. So Conan's set and sell on different shores outside Marvel.
Well, I hope they come out with really great content for sure, writing and whatnot, and do it their own way and see what
Mhm.
happens. We'll see.
Yeah, yep,
But
yep, yeah. And that company that owns Conan, they seem to be really uh faithful to Robert E. Howard's vision of Conan. They're working on a streaming series for Conan, and they've been working with Netflix. I don't think any of the contracts have been signed yet, but they're taking an approach of uh anything that service kind of impose on them, as far as changing it for, I guess, modern day sensibilities, so to speak.
mm,
they're
mm,
they're gonna they're gonna reject. They want Conan to be unfiltered and true to his character.
good,
They're
good.
very much want that vision of Conan to be what it is. They know what sells about Conan.
Oh yeah. That's all.
Mhm.
Well, there's the classic, the movie, our classic Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like the what are the good things in life, Conan? And it's something. Hear the lamentations of their women, and then hear to see your enemy driven before you, etc. I love that.
Mhm.
Like many do, but that's
Mhm.
awesome. And moving on, what's the next news item we should cover here? Bruce or DC
Yeah,
May?
Bruce
Okay, Bruce
probably
Campbell. I
yeah.
now I did see a headline. I just saw the headline for this, but I didn't read the article. So what's this one about? Obviously,
Um
beside him,
yeah.
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell of the Evil Dead fame. He's writing a comic book for DC, a limited comic book series. It's going to be 6 issues and going to feature Sergeant Rock, one of their iconic DC characters, and it's going to be Sergeant Rock against the Army of Darkness. So
That's awesome.
there's not a whole lot of detail on
Okay.
it, just that he's writing it, and this is the first comic book he's written since Dark Horse adaptation of his movie Man with the Screaming Brain, which
Mhm.
I didn't read or see the movie. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to this. This should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, just looking at I will definitely want to kind of pull up, the issues when it comes out. And did they have a timeline when they're gonna release it, or it's still in the works?
Looks like from that first paragraph, it's will be released on September 27th. So, uh, we'll remind you guys out in the audience
Mhm.
when it gets closer to its release date.
Yeah, I love this aesthetic. I love the artwork that I see. Obviously, this is probably pulled from prior artwork, but yeah, this is definitely looks very interesting to me. Cool,
Hmm.
cool. Are you excited to see this?
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
it should be fun. Yeah, I haven't read much from Bruce Campbell, but
Either by.
I'm sure I'm sure he's has some cool ideas. So,
Well, he definitely will take a crack at it for sure. And
mhm.
yeah, Bruce Campbell is yeah. I think we covered this not too long ago, but he basically said he couldn't do the films anymore because of
Yeah,
the physical toll that it took on him as an actor.
yeah, yeah. There was that TV series that he was in not too long ago. The um Ash against the Evil Dead, or Ash versus the Evil Dead,
Mhm.
which was a fun series. Um, And actually, I watched the Ash versus the series was really fun. And they shot it in I think New Zealand, and I watched I got it on Blu-ray, and I watched that first season, and then they had commentary with Bruce did a commentary on all of the episodes with various of the actors in there, and Bruce Campbell's just entertaining. Just listen to him talk and tell stories. He had some funny stories about the New Zealand crew that worked on on the series, and yeah,
Very cool.
Mhm.
I got to catch up. This looks cool. This looks
Mhm.
cool.
Oh yeah, it's very very entertaining.
Cool.
It's
Well, that's
it's a
probably why I
good,
haven't seen it
yeah.
because Stars made it. Looks like maybe Stars made
Yep. Yeah. I it's on I believe it's on Netflix now.
it. Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. I definitely have Netflix, but I don't have Stars.
Mhm.
I never got
Mhm.
Stars, but
Yeah.
interesting. That looks cool. Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, but going back to this, yeah, this is great. It's great. Definitely one to look out for. Especially, I'm gonna mark my calendar for it for sure. Like, I want to come back and circle back around, circle back around. uh, and then I see that you had this one,
Yeah.
DC.
Yeah, I thought it was
Interesting.
yeah, I thought it was interesting to kind of bring in it's yeah, I guess this journalist felt it necessary to bring out the point that DC did a horrible deal and possibly killed a gay character during Pride Month.
Yeah.
uh, did a did
Let's.
a did a hate crime, I guess, is what he's trying to postulate.
I
which
I guess so. I guess
which
so.
the month before they killed off the whole of the Justice League, which you
They
know,
legit wiped them off. They wiped them
uh,
off the multiverse.
yep.
Point
And
blank.
then yeah, and this happens in the Dark Crisis series. The first issue, it started in issue 75 of the Justice League, and then this is the first issue of the limited series Dark Crisis that continues the story. And this character, Cobra, he's evidently a gay character. I'm not familiar with him. I don't know if you
Nope.
are either, but
Nope.
he gets a bomb strapped to him, and he gets blown up, which and then in the pictures, Nightwing's like almost right next to Cobra whenever he blows up. So if and then Nightwing's in the next issue, so Cobra may actually be a may have survived as well. You don't know. Flash might have Kid Flash might have jumped in there and saved them both. So this could be a bunch of nothing. I guess it's one of those articles that gets people's eyes to it, but really doesn't amount to much. I mean, um, you know, uh, gay characters, straight characters, those characters can live and die in the comic
Yeah.
books, and I don't think DC was trying to say anything special
Right.
by
No.
killing
Oh
either
God,
a
no.
gay or a straight
No.
character during Pride
No.
Month.
No. And to channel some Bill Maher, who's been, it's just like newsflash: comic book characters die and they come back,
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is exactly what you just said.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, and and every characters, we should treat every character the same. I mean, they we shouldn't uh raise one particular one above or denigrate one below any of the others.
The
They're
fans do
all,
that.
yeah.
The fans do that by voting with their dollars already. So
Oh
this is
yeah.
the very well established things of, like, if you make a crappy story, people aren't going to buy it. If you make a good story, something compelling, artwork, all that, then people are going to buy it for sure. I absolutely agree with you. Yeah, this is obviously like maybe a clickbaity kind of thing, but that's okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's okay. Yeah, but well, sometimes you just have to cover this as a fan too. In the Nerdom, that's what we're all about. Like this is the thing. And actually, if anything, it could be taken as if this character is dead or they did kill him off. There's a rite of passage, man. How many times has Superman been killed and brought back, or Wolverine, or whatever? Umpteen a million revisions of this or that. Of course, DC does it a little bit different than Marvel, and that's to the fans to decide and whatnot. But
and I just finished the fourth volume of Peter David's run on the Incredible Hulk, which I didn't realize this expands a little over 11 years. Peter David wrote the Incredible Hulk, which is a mind-boggling amount of time to write a single character. But at the end of his run, he kills off Betty Banner, his Bruce Banner's wife, which, if you read comic books currently, she's alive and kicking now. So as the Red She-Hulk. So and her dad,
Thunderbolt.
Her dad Thunderbolt, Ross, he's died and come back a few different times. So like you said, it's a rite of passage. So that's
see, there's many things we could take as a thing. I take it as a positive thing that and that's kind of the thing. Like, I mean, you can't have look. I'm sorry, but you can't have you just can't have hugs and kisses all the time. It's not always pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And I'm not saying that to be fresh on the pride colors, but there's a healthy amount of there's a healthy amount of eye rolling that goes on with the profitability that companies, take with this thing. And then, it's like NASCAR banners, at the stage, it's just like the annual thing, but that's good. That's all good.
It's all about the money with the companies. And then I think maybe the more egregious thing that maybe Warner Brothers and DC did was a year or two back, during Pride Month, they was promoting in the DC beat 'em up game, the fighting game, DC Injustice
2.
Injustice 2. They were promoting that you could fight Poison Ivy, which is has become a gay character. So they're basically promoting that you could beat up a gay woman in their game. So that may have been a little bit more egregious. It could be maybe frowned upon a little bit more than say a character getting killed in a storyline.
There is an old school saying. I think we grew up during that time period where there was in the 90s, like the saying is perception is reality in certain circles. But then there's just like ridiculousness, like with this whole thing, for sure. But in any case, I don't want to belabor this more than we need to. But kudos to you for getting a click, Emmer Sullivan. You just got featured. So if you have any comment, we would love to hear from you. To really defend your point here on why you think this is such a travesty of justice, considering what's going on in the world. But in any case, I digress. But and with that, I think we can leap into our picks for the week. What do you say?
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah. Did you want to do Moon Knight, or did you want to do the Powerbomb first up on your side?
Either one. It'll just be a quick. They're coming out today as we speak. It's Wednesday. It's comic book day, and do a Powerbomb is an image comic. It's done by Daniel Warren Johnson. He writes and he's the writer, artist, letterer, and cover artist in this one. And he's one of my favorite new artists and writers. He's writing Jurassic League, which is basically the um, Justice League as dinosaurs. That comes out today as well, the second issue, and that one's surprisingly good. That first issue, so I expect this one to be good as well. And
Awesome.
there's he does the covers, but he doesn't do the interior art. But he got a guy that draws very similar to Daniel Warren Johnson. But that comic book I was recommending, that Powerbomb one, it's about a female wrestler and her mixing up with a demon, I think, a necromancer. But but yeah, it sounded kind of wild and out there, which is sort of his kind of style of writing and art. So and then I'm not real familiar with what the story is going to be, but the art will be worth it alone. So this is a high recommend, just by the name of the guy doing it and his wonderful art.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. The Jurassic version of the Avengers, Jurassic League, rather. What was a few weeks back, like, I mean, they were plastered everywhere, advertisements for it all the time.
Yep.
It seemed like it was at the front of the top of the magazine or the top of the issue and bottom of the issue, but that's a little bit. I'm being facetious a little bit, but I'm glad to hear. I do need to circle back around and read it at some point, just based off the strength of what you say, that it is good, because we're always looking for that good artist, good writer, especially newer ones. That's awesome. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Yeah. Kind of popping into mind. I think I'm gonna do this one. It's one that I found that was it's called Genpet, and it's made and this is actually one. So the summer started, and the kiddos and I hadn't been to the comic book shop in quite a while, and we all went, and they kind of went ham, and I went ham, and we found. I just found this, and I was drawn to it. And basically, I haven't read it yet, but this is made in 2020, and it's basically. It's in the future, and there's this genetic pets type scenario, and this one does a little bit more and kind of protects the kid, but it's just interesting. I really like. It's not manga. It is definitely a American comic book, I would say, if anything else. But I just love the artwork, and I've only jumped into it, but I got the physical, if I can do it justice here, the physical media. But I grabbed that one just because I think it looks interesting. And we'll see, but I haven't read it yet. But Beck, if you want something a little bit lighter, this would be one to pick. And with that, we'll piggyback up on. I saw you had the Moon Knight.
Yep.
Moon Knight, the continuation of that. How's that go?
This second issue comes out today as well. Basically, there's a big thing that they're doing now, both DC and Marvel, and actually Image with Spawn. They come out with the Black, White, and Blood issues, which they've done it with Elektra, they've done it with Wolverine, they've done it with Deadpool. Basically, it's kind of gimmicky. Basically, they just use black, white, and red ink for the story. So it's basically a black and white comic book with splashes of red for blood in it. And this basically it's a little bit longer than normal issues, so it's about $1 more. Instead of they say 36 pages, but it comes out to be about 30 actual pages of comic, whereas a regular issue is about 20. So for $1 more, I'd say it's probably worth it. But basically, they're short stories, and it looks like there's 3 different writers. So it comes out to be about 10 pages for each of the stories. The last issue was pretty good, and they've got some good writer. At least Benjamin Pierce is a good writer, and that David Pepose. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's writing the new Savage Avengers, which is pretty decent. So that story should be pretty decent. Patrick Zircher, haven't heard any good or bad things about him. I think he's one of those guys that likes to make a lot of comments on Twitter.
Okay,
so
interesting.
so I've had some people say that you know maybe he should spend more time on comic books. I don't know. I,
Your your
I don't know.
your mileage may vary.
Yeah, exactly. You're right, exactly. So who knows? So I'll see how good his story is.
Sure.
And no preconceived notions. But yeah, the those black and white and red series is kind of interesting. They're little short stories, so they're not gonna matter too much to the whole big storyline for the whole Marvel universe, but as little stories that you could read, they're not bad.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. Very cool. Very good recommendation. Cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, Moon Knight. Always fun
Yeah.
to read one of those.
Yeah, and then you could pick up any issue it's not a continuing storyline, so
Right.
if you just wanted to read a cool Moon Knight story, this would be get you your fix, I guess.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. Good recommendation. The one that I found was called Spectro. Again, this is like one that I just saw the cover, and the cover it just grabbed me. And I'm not doing a very good job here, but that's the physical cover. But anyway, I don't know anything about this aside from it's horror related. It's a one shot, I believe. It's a I believe it's going to be, well, I'm not quite sure what one shot means for this because it's Aftershock. I don't think I've ever read an Aftershock comic book, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. It just sucked me in with the artwork. Like this is one of those things like where that you can never replicate with the digital comic books that I miss out on, which is going into the comic book store, seeing them all lined up, and then just kind of throwing a wild thing out there and like just see what you're drawn to and see where it goes. And but I think this one is fairly well regarded in general. I haven't read it yet, but this is just one that I'm excited to get into, and I'd be curious to see what your opinion is too, if you ever get around to it too, because it is in your wheelhouse there with the horror part.
Yeah.
But have you heard anything bad or good or anything like that about this one?
No, I'd seen when I would go on to New Comic Books this week site, or the site that we go to, the League of Comic Geeks. That cover kind of jumped out at me, but yeah, I haven't. I don't know if my comic book shop stocked that, because I don't remember seeing it on the shelves. But I like the name of the writer artist, Juan Doe, like John Doe. That's kind of entertaining. But yeah, I'll be interested to see what you think of that. You're kind of jumping out there in the indie world and seeing what's out there.
I had to shake it up because I felt like I was too DC, too Marvel-y, which is fine. But and of course this hooked me too because it has some kind of interplay with space or in sci-fi a little bit. But and it also, I think, kind of dives into that thing that I like to go into, which is the psyche sphere, maybe a little bit. That might be an unwarranted horrible observation, but we'll see what happens. But it looks compelling. It's compelling enough for me to buy. It's a little pricey. I'm just trying to see how many pages it had, because this one they're not going to have as many details on some of these. Like that's why I had to look up the magnetic press for Genpet. Obviously, I can already tell you the end result of Genpet. It didn't go anywhere, apparently. But that's true, but not true, because 2 years later I found it on the store shelves. So who knows what that means? Yeah, just the in and out of it. I'm really looking forward to seeing this. And then really to kind of wrap up mine, this one, I haven't read this one yet, but I know you have. And I know it's good. But I saw this one, and I actually got the this one, and I got the this is the stupid part of my brain, like where I am a site collector. That's just the regular one, and then I got the holographic edition or whatever cover. I'm not going to show it, but it's just interesting. But you never know. But maybe it'll be worth something someday to pay for my kid's college. Who knows? Not. It won't, but that's okay. But yeah, this is just the thing. This is a very good series, and I know you've already read it, and I need to catch up. But looking forward to digging into this one for sure. And with that, I think that kind of brings us to the end of our comic book recommendations for this week. And with that, did you want to jump into your other recommendations for Netflix, or did you want to do YouTube?
We could do Netflix. There's a series. The third installment came out just recently. Third season. It's a Love, Death, and Robots. It's produced by David Fincher and Tim Miller, I think it is. But yeah, the first season takes a bunch of various short stories. I think the first two seasons from various known writers, like our friend. They did one of Joe Lansdale's short stories, The Tall Grass, and adapted that. But basically, these are little short little stories. They range from 10 minutes to a half hour, and they're all animated, either using CGI or regular cell shading or the 2D art. But yeah, in there a lot of them are very inventive and very since they're very short, they could be very experimental with what they're doing. And all of them are really fun to watch. And then if you hit upon one that's maybe not all that great or doesn't really grab your attention, most of them run about 15 minutes, so they're over before you get too pissed off with it. But overall, they're really good stories. There's some really great ones, and then I think a couple of the story. There's one that has a sequel with these trio of robots that are kind of entertaining. But yeah, the like that one that they're showing right there, that one was kind of that. Oh man, there's just so many of them that were kind of mind blowing and mind blowingly good. Like that one, that one has sort of like a kind of Lovecraftian kind of horror element to it.
Awesome. This is one that I have seen. I didn't even know this existed prior to this year, but I've seen it kind of bubble up on different social media sites that I haunt and rehaunt. And I had no idea. And then when I dug in, like when I first saw this one, I was just like, okay, what the hell is this about? And then you have to dig in because it's not very easily understood, like what you're looking at or what's going on. Right. Yeah. But I have not heard one negative thing about this entire show or whatever the series, I guess. Yeah. So I'm very interested at kind of I've got quite a bit of work this weekend to do, but I'm really looking forward to like maybe cracking this open and seeing it, because I know it's going to be I know it's going to be good. I just have a good feeling.
Yeah, and it's one of those that like I think the first couple of seasons, whenever they come out, I would binge watch them, and then I'd be, oh man, I wish I had more to watch. So this season I kind of spaced it out a little bit more. But yeah, they're not all horror. They're not all horror. There's sci-fi, there's fantasy, there's horror, and then a little mix of both. There's a few that are sci-fi horror things, much like Alien or something similar. But yeah, even if the story is not all that great, the animation is spectacular on all of them. There's not one of them where I said that art, not so good. All of them are all of them are pretty great. And then also want to point out these aren't for the youngsters even. This is even though it's animated, this is more adult oriented content. So you want to do that, watch it without well, at least watch it firsthand to see if it's appropriate for your kids. Some of them are, and some of them are definitely not. Some have nudity and some extreme violence in some of them. So
Yeah, it's not one you want to spark a kid and just here go little Johnny or little Jane for sure.
They may come back traumatized.
Who knows? For sure. Cool. Yeah, I this is one I've been kind of circling around, and I'm glad you found it. Now you grabbed a hold of it and recommended it for sure. And with that, I didn't have any other recommends.
Yeah, I was going to mention.
Actually, I did.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Keep talking. I do my pathetic typing into the browser, which I suck at, but whatever.
yeah. I've been still watching Obi-Wan, which someone pointed out in one of their videos on YouTube. They pointed out that there's some story inconsistencies with the Revenge of the Sith and the Star Wars, because basically in this series Obi-Wan doesn't know Anakin is Vader. He finds out in the series, which kind of hit me wrong. I thought I hadn't seen Revenge of the Sith in forever, so I thought maybe I could have misremembered, but I thought by the end of that he knew who Vader was. And
I'm no spring chicken on Star Wars lore, but I definitely I have my nerd credentials for sure. Like I don't know if I told you or not, but a couple weeks ago at work we had a team building thing, and we did a big Star Wars trivia. It's like 20 questions, and there was one guy who got every one right, and then I was second place with 15 out of the 20 questions that I nailed. But anyway, so I'm not a newbie when it comes to some of the things, and I have not seen this, and I've just kind of heard rumblings here and there, but so they're really breaking it down into things that don't make any sense, or things that are incongruent with what we know to be canon.
Yeah, they're breaking canon. So, and then basically the writer says, "Oh well, doesn't really matter. This is a story I want to tell." But basically, at the end
it does matter.
Yeah, exactly. And someone did some screenshots and showed, well, where Yoda explicitly tells Obi-Wan that that Anakin is Vader. And then also there's a scene where Obi-Wan confronts fights Darth Vader in the series
with the flames and stuff or whatever.
Yeah, and the flames and stuff. And then that kind of negates what they say in Star Wars 4 part 4 of A New Hope, where Vader and Ben Kenobi squares off, and they say last we met, I was yet the pupil and you were the master, and basically
now I'm the master.
And someone did a little meme that said that kind of rewrote that dialogue, saying, except for when we met on this planet and we fought a little bit and I burnt you up a little bit. But yeah, so that kind of hits me wrong. And little Leia isn't quite as annoying, but they write her like she's they give her dialogue that a 20-year-old character would say, as opposed to a little 8-year-old. And I guess she's wise beyond her years, so to speak. And then the Reva, the third sister character, that character, she's still not a great actress in my opinion. And there's rumors that she's going to get her own series on Disney Plus, which boy, I'm not looking forward to that one.
What is it? Star Wars related, or is it just generic Disney?
Oh yeah, it would be a series about her character.
Oh, okay, all right, all right.
Mhm.
They can do that. Yeah, no, they can do that. Yeah, like you know, I'm not gonna crap on something, but I still haven't revisited this, and I probably
Yep.
won't ever, to be honest with you.
Right.
I did try to watch it the first 10 or 15 minutes, and everybody can pick whatever they want to watch, and good for you. If you love this Inside Out, good for you. Awesome. You know what? Disney loves you, right?
Mhm.
So, but then there's other folks like myself, you know, and you have more patience than I do. For this particular one, well, I watched the first 10, 15 minutes and I just knew I wasn't interested. And that, you know, I don't want to dog something out, but God knows the internet already has. But so some of the PR and the handling of this, I'm very disappointed in Disney across the board. You know, just I don't have an axe to grind or anything. I'm just saying, like, just kind of some of the things, and I won't get into all, but I'm disappointed how they handled this with the fandom, the Nerdom. I don't think they did a very good job.
Yeah.
And I've heard, you know, I haven't heard that it outright stinks and sucks. You know, at least when it started. But some of these things, I kind of had a feeling that they would get into some of this corner gray area thing, like where they would do this, like they have done before. And I'm just, it's just, it is. But and is it close to being done? It's only
Yeah.
six episodes, isn't it?
Yeah, so there's a couple more episodes.
Okay,
But yeah, it's yeah, if it was, you know, a generic sci-fi channel show, science fiction show, it'd be okay. But since it's Star Wars, you know, you've got a level that you and then there's canon that you need to match with
right.
it. Like that was one of the pitfalls of reading the Star Wars comic book back in the day. When the movies were still coming out, they would have to come up with storylines in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi that would not be, you know, consequential or contradict or make
Right.
any big changes between, you know, between the movies. But evidently, you know, with Disney, they go, oh well, they throw that out the window and say, oh, we could change whatever we want.
Yeah, and they
Which
can, you know, they own them, they own the thing, and they can do their own thing, and then you
yeah,
know.
but yeah, the fans will only go along with you for so long before they start to rebel.
Now let me ask you this: is this something you've already invested up to this point? Are you going to finish it out, or are you going to
Oh
abandon
yeah,
it?
yeah. I'll finish it out. See what
Good, good, cool.
but something that I noped out of. I started the Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel came out last week,
I heard about
and
that.
yeah, and I watched maybe the first 3 or 4 or 5 minutes of it, and then I said, yeah, I think I'm done. Which to be fair, I don't, you know, a lot of the things that Marvel and Disney have said about these things is that it's not made for you, and I think that's very true. In this case, for me, it's very much and from the advertisement, it seems to be very much a teen Disney kind of,
Mm.
you know, kid show, and that's just not something that draws me in. And then I watched a video on YouTube by Comics by Perch. He's a real good channel. We
Yep.
haven't recommended him yet, or maybe we have.
I believe you did quite a few weeks ago, but yeah,
Okay.
I agree with you because my brother-in-law also follows him, and he
Mhm.
has, by and large, you know, he has opinions, but they're pretty good. He's a good umpire,
Uh-huh.
I would say. He's
Yeah,
a good umpire.
yeah, and he did a YouTube video on Miss Marvel, and he said basically that he watched it with his two young daughters. I think one's 8 and one's
Okay.
a little bit younger, And he said that the older child liked it and enjoyed it, and the younger girl loved it and
Okay.
watched. Azari watched it a second or a third time,
Oh wow.
and
It's good.
and he said he gave a little bit of back history. He said that he tried to he tried to see if the kids would like the comic book, and he exposed them to that, and they had no interest in the comic book.
Interesting.
But he said him that again. He said he thought maybe it might have been the art. The art just didn't grab them. But
Mhm.
yeah, so this he sat down with them and watched this, and he basically echoed our thoughts that that wasn't really for him, but it's
Right.
kind of made for a younger audience, and his kids really enjoyed it, and he said it kind of taps into what makes good comic books, in that it's a young girl that kind of idolizes superheroes and wants to be a
Mhm.
superhero, and really kind of um, wants to do good, and
Yeah.
basically that kind of wholesome good kind of superhero kind of
Mhm.
story. And she's not the popular kid, she's not quite the outcast, she's sort of like
Nerd.
yeah, kind of a nerd sort of in between, and doesn't always do the right thing, or the what she does doesn't always work out, but yeah, it's sort of like that, kind of a quirky teen that you could relate to, much like a young Peter Parker,
Okay. Very
basically
cool.
kind of finding, and she gets her magic powers, and it's I think if I'm right, I think I'm right. He said that she gets her powers from this ancient artifact that she finds in the attic, or finds somewhere.
Mhm.
He said that that's for a kid, that's more relatable than, say, some sort of high tech kind of special way that, like, say, Captain Marvel got her powers from the
Right.
scroll or whatever.
Right.
The idea that you could stumble upon this ancient relic is sort of a somewhat believable, and something that that a kid could kind of fantasize about, and
Sure.
oh wow, if I could have find that, find something like that. It's something that that immediately kind of draws a kid's attention. And he says that this character doesn't get caught up in what some of today's female characters do get caught up in, is that, oh, I'm woman, I'm better than men, and all
Mhm.
that, all that woman power kind of kind of
Okay. Good for
kind
them.
of
Good for them.
BS. It's more or less, she just finds her powers, and
Right.
she's just the average person finding her powers. So he said it's a nice little story that kids could relate to. And
Okay.
if he said, if you subscribe to my channel, this probably isn't for you, but
Right.
it's a nice little story. And that it's he exposed his kids to Moon Knight, and that they didn't care at all for Moon Knight, but but Miss Marvel, they could sink their teeth into. And he said it kind of has that sensibility of today's manga, that his kids reads more manga than, say, American comic books. And this
Right.
kind of latches upon. He said that it kind of has some parallels to My Hero Academia.
Mm.
About, I think that one's about a guy that kind of idolizes superheroes as well, and doesn't think that they could actually be a superhero, but finds I guess, the superhero within himself. And that's sort of the storyline of Miss Marvel as well.
Yeah, and that kind of echoes what I've learned the hard way, I guess, with the Disney Marvel and Disney Star Wars, and not just them, but other segments of media and entertainment, which is kind of have to step back and be like, oh, obviously this clearly isn't made for my demographic or for my audience or whatever, which is
Hmm.
fine. And that's
Yeah.
the beautiful thing about comic books, like that's the same. You don't like one character, move on to the next one, But
Yeah.
yeah, and I
Mhm.
I have kiddos, and I have one in particular that this might be interesting to to see how they like it or not. You know,
Yep.
that's wonderful. You know, and the thing is that that's at the end of the day, that's just what it is. You know, they're pumping out so many of these. Essentially, this has become Disney Marvel's is pumping out so many of these things. They're already in oversaturation mode already, and they have been for quite some time. But they're you know, what do I know? You know, but yeah, same. I'll be right there with you. Like the dad in me would want to see this, just like Perch did with his daughters. Like I'm sure there might be a chord struck there, or not, but yeah, good call out. Yeah, and I knew this could come out very very recently, but yeah, I probably would not be watching this outside of, you know, my kiddos. But then again, that's kind of the hook, you know. But with that being said, I did have one game that I wanted to recommend that I've been playing on and off a little bit, and my son is just nuts about it. But unfortunately for him, he lost his device rights for the summer.
Oh
But,
no.
he's severely
Okay.
curtailed with his screen time for sure this summer. But in any case, this came out not too long ago, Dune Spice Wars. And it's just a good game. It's the first Dune game, computer game, in a very long time. Just like a lot of Dune property things, you know, Dune, the movie, etc. But anyway, this is very good. He's a lot more into it than I am. I just kind of barely scratched the surface of it, but it's fun. It's somewhat affordable, $30. You know, it's not like typical video games that are 60, 70, $80 or whatever, or 90 or 100 for some special edition or some such thing. But you can get it on Steam, and I'd recommend it. It's just a fun playthrough. If you like Dune, you like role based games, this is a good job.
Is it sort of like Civilization, or what type of game is it
Essentially,
similar
yeah,
to?
it's more like StarCraft. I would say it's a
Oh,
lot
okay.
more like StarCraft, like where you have your factions and you can pick to be the good one or the bad one, or you can either pick to be the Fremen, you can pick House Harkonnen, House Atreides, and then therein you can pick different perks and different things that you get when you pick them, and it kind of goes from there. And you can either play as any one of those, and it's very open ended like that. But it's good. It's one that I've been playing off on and off. I have my son has a lot more playtime than I do. But in any case, just a good strong recommend. And with that, I think we should move on to our YouTube picks.
Before you do, those type of games, those StarCraft and those type of games, I'm not really into those. But like you were saying, you know, everybody has their own kind of thing that they like. So
it is not it's not far away from being like a Civilization type. I would say Civilization, it's not from the standpoint of it's not as sprawling and big as a Civilization 5 or 4, 6 would be. But it still holds its own. Like that's why I say it's more like StarCraft. But like where you can be the Zerg or humans or the Protoss or whatever the hell they are. I think those are the 3 main branches. But it's just a good pick up and play kind of. You don't, you know, you can. I like this kind of because you can pause it and come back to it, that kind of thing. But you're right. Some folks like RTS, you know, real time strategy type things. But in any case,
and I've been playing. I've still been playing Ghostwire Tokyo. I think I mentioned a few weeks back. That one's still fun. They're fighting the yokai, which is the Japanese word for spirits or ghost.
I'll be right back.
Okay. But there's various ghosts you can fight. There's ghosts that there's schoolgirl ghosts without heads. There's sort of like these long ghosts that look a little bit like Slender Man, maybe not quite as tall. But then you have these magic powers that you shoot out of your hands. That's kind of fun. And there's sort of like a section of Tokyo that you're running around in, and you have to purify these various temples to open up the fog in areas. So you're kind of hemmed in by the fog, and you progress by kind of opening up certain temples, and there's like buildings that you can go into, and it kind of locks it down into the sort of kind of corridor building kind of setting, and it's kind of similar to Silent Hill PT kind of vibe, where like it can do like the ghost and spirits and yokai can do weird things to the building, where it can flip it on its side, so you're walking on the side of side of a wall, or you could be walking on the ceiling and various things before you purify the apartment or building.
Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. Yeah. Good game too. And you did recommend this, I think 2 or 3 months ago. I'll link to it in the description for that for a little bit more. Back and forth. But
and that shows you how fast I play a game. I think that it's I'll play it for a little bit and then put it aside, and then a week or two later I'll get back to it and play it for a few more hours.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I just do not have the hardcore gamer streak in me as I used to, and I play it when I can. And if it catches the fancy, I know we've talked about for a while now to get into it, and we will. I think when things settle down for me on my side, but it'll be really really fun to kind of do that and open it up to our fans and kind of explore that world. But cool, very cool. Yeah. So what do you have for your YouTube pick for this week?
I've got Slopes Game Room.
Okay, what's going on with this one?
He does various different videos. He does like histories of various video games, but the thing that really drew me to his channel is his Kicks Gamer series, which basically he takes a look at various Kickstarters or Indiegogo campaigns that are scams, and and kind of opens, kind of goes kind of deep dives into the various ones. Like the current one, there's a video game that destroyed its Kickstarter. There's that. He also does one of the more recent ones, the food mascots, the forgotten games based off of food mascots. That one was kind of interesting. He's a British guy, so I think most of them were kind of heavily European food mascots I'd never heard of, and that was kind of his goal. He was wanting to kind of dive into those various mascots that no one had ever heard of, or kind of niche kind of ones. But yeah, it's really entertaining. He's kind of got he has a funny sort of sensibility to him, and he, as you could tell from his thumbnails, he likes to make funny faces, and he has no ego, but he kind of like spices his videos up with various pictures of himself.
Cheeses it up.
Cheese it up. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, the for the most part it's sort of family friendly, but there's various ones that aren't, and they kind of points it out to start, at the start of the video. So and you can tell from the titles usually if they're if they're family friendly or not.
Sure. Indeed. Yeah, with that being said, my YouTube recommendation for this week is Space Doc. They're kind of along the lines of, I've recommended some before too, along the sci-fi realm, but basically they go through, it's kind of like kind of calling upon the Star Trek stuff. I remember they had made they made like a blueprint of the Enterprise D. And it came in a box, and it had like I don't know how many blueprints that you would open up, and it would like deck by deck, it would tell you where this was, where that. It was just awesome. And of course, same thing for Star Wars, like that broke down, the compendiums, encyclopedias, if you will. Back in the day when I was growing up, I just couldn't get enough of it. And then this is essentially the modern day version of it, but in YouTube. So this is one of the many channels that I follow that will dive into the technical details of this and that. And they're very good. And this, I wish they got more traction. But I've followed them for years. I remember joining this channel when it was like only 50K subscribers. It was several years ago, but it's very niche, very nerd for sure. But they just go through and they just kind of so the shtick. I think a few weeks ago I recommended the Templeton Institute, but they're more it's very similar, but they kind of break down the ships and the all different aspects of it on the technical nerd side that I just love. And I've followed along but they're pretty straightforward what they're about. And they also have their own series, like where they did an audio drama and some artwork that they did of the Sojourn. I didn't really jump into that. I haven't heard anything bad about it. I should probably do it justice and like go through it, but just interesting where they take the world. They go in and they just kind of do some deep dives and in any given, they're either 5 minutes to 10, 15 minutes, something like that. But very well versed, but pretty straight up. What you see is what you get kind of thing with them for sure.
Sort of bite-sized sort of videos. Those are always good. I always like. I'm always happy when it's a shorter videos because it doesn't consume your whole day. not that the longer content can be fun, but
I have to be in the. I agree with you. I have to be in the mood to if something is like 20 minutes beyond that envelope of time, I kind of like I'll save this for a later. For something I might be interested in, bank it, and then I can revisit it later.
Those, especially if it's not visually something that you need to really watch. I enjoy saving the longer content for like if I'm working on something that where I have that playing in the background and it doesn't kind of keeps your mind occupied while you're doing something repetitive or doesn't require your 100%.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, that's just pretty straight basic, and I think that brings us up to the end of our show this week. Right up on our grab bag. But yeah, if you guys have any comments, please shout us out, good or bad. And this week, this has been Mike.
This is Thomas, and we're closing up the grab bag for the week.
That's right. Well, next week, join us next week for our exciting grab bag and see what treasures we'll find.
Yeah. See ya.
Peace.